What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Locked In Sports Podcast. I'm William Locke, and joining me this week is Luis Barranco. Luis, first full week of baseball is in the books. Feels good. How are you doing?
It's a mess. Let's just get that out there. I haven't felt like in a while about how like I'm happy it's back, but I feel like in the first week back, I have felt we've had more scandals and things to celebrate. And that will open my monologue tonight on April the 7th, April 2024. It is a Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred have to do something. We don't need to get to talk about the weather. It's a new day. I know you guys watched Cubs Dodgers. It's still going on right now. Everybody has left the stadium. But Major League Baseball has issues. I haven't seen a week in a long time where instead of looking at numbers and stats and looking at sabermetrics and like, you know, looking at Pitching Ninja for fun, I feel like we've seen, I know this is a somber note, but I feel like we've seen a lot more bad in the game. For example, Angels telecast, which I mean, anybody watching the Angels game, salute to you. But the fact is that they actually got up headlines where their telecast team brought up how there's so many scandals right now. There's more things to be ashamed of at our game than to be proud of.
I'm going to interject. I fundamentally disagree with that, but okay. I think the real travesty is the Angels organization for having two of the best players in the game for about a decade and winning absolutely nothing, not even sniffing the playoffs. I think the Angels should probably sit this one out. I think the Angels should probably sit this one out.
That's different. That's different. That's not the announcers can't do crap about about that. But let's just start and talk about. Let's just start and talk about how, for example, the Miami Marlins are 0-10. Well, 0-9. Well, they finally won today. I think it's 1-9, and half the rotation is on Tommy John surgery because everybody has Tommy John. It's a shame that we don't get to watch Shane Bieber, maybe Spencer Strider, and Shane McClanahan, just three guys, and Yuri Perez for the game's top 20, 35 relievers, the starters pitch this year again. We have guys like Tyler Glasnow, who pretty much fundamentally bring up these elbow issues. We're just getting in hot today. There's an elbow epidemic right now in Major League Baseball. What's causing it? We don't know. People are saying pitch clock, but I mean, come on, man. Everybody used to pitch at their own pace, and freaking Masahiro Tanaka was pitching 120. Now, the thing about it is that the game has been made more difficult because hitting has gotten better. And like Chris Bassett said in an interview recently, that there's a velocity problem. And I read a tweet this morning, and it said it best. The 90s Braves had probably one of the greatest rotations in Major League history. You had Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, and John Smoltz. What were they known for, William?
I mean, they were known for velocity.
They were painters. They were artists. They would get good spin, and they would put a ball where it needs to be. Somebody made the point, and even Chris Bassett said the point too, that you can have two guys come into camp, a guy throwing 98 and a guy throwing 90. The guy throwing 90 can have an ERA of 3.5, while the 98-mile-an-hour thrower can have a 4.5 ERA, a whole point higher. But the 90-mile-an-hour pitcher will be a non-roster invitee next year for spring training. Greg Maddux, John Smoltz, and Tom Glavine will not even get a sniff at a major league roster. Not a sniff, but it'd be very difficult for them to break through in this year's of major leagues. And we clearly have a problem. Tyler Glasnow even said best. Everybody uses sticky stuff. Everybody back in the day, your favorite player used sticky stuff, and now we're just doing it. And he said it best. I wasn't doing it for RPMs and spin rates, what everybody's obsessed with in Houston and in Tampa. He was doing it just to get a better grip. And he was going through how by not having, he clearly in his interview, and this is from a while back, he said that he would use sunscreen and rosin. And because of that, he went to start versus Washington, pitched all right, couldn't use it anymore, but the next day he was in pain. So they're just making the game way more difficult and more hitter friendly, which I mean, that's ratings, but.
So I think we should preface this conversation with just the context this week as to what happened and why this is now becoming a major issue in the league. We lost Shane Bieber to a UCL tear this past week, that was the really tough one for me because he had two really good starts to start the season against the A's and against the Mariners. And now seemingly out of nowhere is going to get UCL surgery. And he's obviously out for the season, and he was a pending free agent. So he was going to get paid. Obviously he won the Cy Young in 2020 and hasn't been as great in the seasons following. But if he were to have a bounce back year this year, he would certainly get a bag. And if anything, if the Guardians season went south, he would have been the number one arm at the trade deadline. All of a sudden that's gone. Spencer Strider yesterday came out after his start that he's having elbow issues. And he's going to go for an MRI, I believe, tomorrow. And then we also lost Yuri Perez, the young Marlins pitcher, to UCL surgery, who interestingly enough, they were really limiting his innings last year and even sent him down midseason, despite being really good, just to limit his innings. He is getting Tommy John, and then Jonathan Loaizaga hurt his UCL, towards the UCL as well. And he's not getting Tommy John. He's getting the brace surgery, which kind of shaves the recovery, but still another UCL injury. And it got to the point where the MLBPA, they expressed concerns over the effect of MLB's rule changes, citing the pitch clock that went into use during, obviously, last season. And the MLBPA executive director, Tony Clark, said in a statement released on Saturday, quote, despite unanimous player opposition and significant concerns regarding health and safety, the commissioner's office reduced the length of the pitch clock last December, just one season removed from imposing the most significant rule change in decades. Since then, our concerns about the health impacts of reduced recovery time have only intensified. The league's unwillingness this far to acknowledge or study the effects of these profound changes is an unprecedented threat to our game and its most vulnerable assets, the players. And that's the end of the quote. So it's opening up this pitch clock debate, and there's a lot of people on Twitter, which I don't know if that's the best source of information in terms of fan sentiment. But there is a lot of people out there that think it is the pitch clock that is causing these arm issues. I think there's a myriad of reasons, and you can't just point it at the pitch clock. But I'm curious your thoughts. I think you kind of hinted at it a little bit earlier. But where do you kind of stand on this debate, which is all of a sudden becoming kind of heated in baseball right now?
Well, the whole thing is like we have an obsession over 100-mile-an-hour fastballs. Like that's always been the obsession. I remember 100 when we were kids, which would have been about 15 years ago. Wow, I'm really aging myself right now. It was I don't want to say it was a rarity. It wasn't common. It was rare, but yet not out of the ordinary. I remember we had Joel Zumaya. Joel Zumaya would come in and throw 103. How many years did Joel Zumaya have in major leagues?
Yeah, not many.
Not many.
I mean, the big one for me, I remember coming up was Chapman when he was on the Reds he had 103, and he was kind of the next big thing. Everyone thought he was, going to be a superstar, and he had a solid career. I mean, 2-time world champion. But
Chapman had a 4-year history with the Tigers, and it wasn't like 4 consistent years of just non-injury. He was always hurt.
Aroldis?
No.
Zumaya. Yeah, Zumaya. Yeah.
Zumaya. And he had a freak injury, the Guitar Hero injury that he had in California. Mm-hmm. I remember that one. But there's that, and then Jabba Chamberlain. You can go and talk more about Jabba Chamberlain. Jabba Chamberlain was next up. Yeah. And what happened to him? I think the last thing we heard about Jabba was the whole incident in Cleveland. That's when in my opinion, where the wheels started going off the bus. But the fact is, we have an obsession with velocity. If you're not throwing 100 or like upper 90s, it's very hard for you to consider an ace. And that's where the money's at. The money is being an ace. And I feel like that's where we all want to be. Chris Bassett, like I alluded earlier, said like there's just an obsession with that. And I can't remember who else talked about it, but somebody said that we've reached to the point where like we have the most technology we've ever had before to develop pitchers. But I felt like we've reached the cap of how much we can grow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, we can throw 100, but at what cost? Like,
it's not a normal motion for your arm. It's very harmful for your arm. It's not natural at all. And to throw so hard, 100 miles an hour, and then also really focusing on spin rates with sliders, curveballs, splitters, whatever, it's so much wear and tear on your arm. And I think you mentioned the Tyler Glasnow discussion or interview that he gave when he was still on the Rays. I'm not sure when that was.
It obviously was 2 years ago. Like
it wasn't this year. Yeah, and we know Glasnow is a guy that obviously struggles with injury. And he was saying, which I thought was interesting, you're talking about how you use sunscreen and rosin.
You can use sunflower seeds, like
yeah. As a sticky substance to help give him grip on the ball. And obviously MLB banned the foreign substances a couple years ago, and now there's checks after every single inning to make sure pitchers don't have any substance. So he said, like you mentioned, when he had his first start without anything, no doctoring of the ball whatsoever, he had to grip the ball further into his hand instead of having it, maybe a little looser, which they're always taught to do, grip your changeup loose, grip your fastball loose. He had to put it deeper in his hand, and he had to grip it harder, which all of a sudden is causing obviously more stress on every single muscle down into your elbow without that substance, because now he has to grip it harder. And that causes obviously a lot of wear and tear on the elbow. And I think that is another factor in leading into these injuries, and could be one of the main reasons that the increase in elbow injuries is just these pitchers. And I know the pitchers have every advantage because they know what's coming, etc. But taking away the foreign substance of any variety for the pitchers puts them at even more disadvantage, and arguably puts them in a situation where they're prone to injury. And I think Glasnow made a good point there. And I don't think it's a pitch clock, because there's still pitchers back in the day that worked within the realm of pitch clock. Also, back in the 80s, we saw how fast the game was going. Sure, they weren't throwing as hard as they are today, but it's not like baseball has never been played at this pace before. And that's something that I mentioned in last year's pods all the time when we were talking about the pitch clock. This is not foreign. The pitch clock is not foreign to baseball. The boomers that are complaining about the game being too fast now, they grew up in baseball that was played at this speed. Go back and watch a World Series game from the 70s, from the 80s. It looks very similar to the pace that they're playing at right now.
My thing is there's just a lot of problems going around. They're making the game harder. They want hitting to get up. The problem is everybody loved the steroid era because the steroid era was just runs on runs. It's just like there's never going to be a balance. It's like in any sport. Like go look at the NFL right now. The game is so catered for offensive players that like defensive players are already complaining that, how are we supposed to tackle people? It's just like if you put back sticky substances, like there'll be guys like Glasnow that actually use it for grip and for the right things. But for every Glasnow, there's at least one or two guys that are going to abuse and try to get spin rates. Because at the end of the day, people make a livelihood out of this. People have families to feed, and people make a living off this game that we enjoy and that we watch on a day-to-day basis. And the thing is, they want to blame pitch clock. It's definitely not pitch clock. It's just like I feel like everybody's blaming pitch clock. It's that common excuse. It's the
easy thing. It's the sitting duck. It's the easy thing to blame.
It's like, why am I fat? Because it's like, because I don't have a gym membership. Then freaking get one. It's like,
there's a lot of reasons for that.
But I'm just saying, there's a lot of reasons. There's like sitting duck. It's just like, why? It's like, I don't know. It's like there's just so many things that go in my head right now about it. And it's like, there's so like I prefaced my opening monologue this week where this week in baseball, we had so many issues. Not only did we have the elbows, we see pitchers complaining about the balls. The balls are awful. There's inconsistencies about the balls.
You see Pete Fairbanks complaining about the balls in Colorado when he blew the save. Yeah. Also, you talked about the NFL, and I think the NBA right now is having a major issue where it's basically just whoever makes the most threes wins the game, and there's no defense. The defense has every disadvantage right now. I will note, and I should note this, that the MLB released a statement in response to Tony Clark, and they said this statement ignores the empirical evidence and much more significant long-term trend over multiple decades of velocity and spin rate increases that are highly correlated with arm injury, end quote. And then baseball, MLB is doing research with Johns Hopkins and found no evidence linking the introduction of the pitch clock to increased injuries. And back in December, the competition committee approved a pitch clock change, shortening the time with runners on base from 20 to 18 seconds. That's kind of where the PA is having issue right now. They think that 2 seconds is making all the difference.
2 seconds.
I'm not sure. I mean, and Brian,
I bet 2 seconds makes all the difference. Maybe in some things in life, but 2 seconds. Oh man,
Brian Snicker, the Braves manager,
seconds,
the Braves manager said, "Well, they're throwing harder than ever and spinning the ball more than ever." When talking about Strider, so even the managers are kind of on the side of spin rate, max, velo, and like pitching is an art. And you look at guys like Greg Maddux. And I think of, Phil Niekro, R.A. Dickey, knuckleballers, or like a Logan Webb, guys that don't just throw 100 miles an hour and kill you with the fastball slider mix, like that actually have a variety of pitches and can mix them in and beat you with multiple pitches. Those guys are like the pitchers that I enjoy more, to be honest, like more than 100 green, a guy that's just going to try to throw it 100 miles an hour and then maybe throw the occasional slider and try to get you out that way. That's more of like the new era pitcher. And Logan Webb's kind of the old school guy, like get you to ground out. He's not going to throw super fast. It's like fastball changeup. But he's just painting. I find that more interesting to watch personally. The artistes.
The Corey Klubers. Corey Kluber wasn't the guy. Like even Nestor Cortez isn't a super fast thrower. A lot of these guys are changing. I feel it's just sad. And today, what really hurt my buddy who's a Reds fan, I was chatting and was watching the Reds this afternoon. They were playing the Mets in Cincy. And he's really high on this reliever, TJ Antone. He closed for the Reds a couple years ago, and he was really high on, but he's just battled a lot of injury. And they put him in, I think it was like in the 6th or 5th inning, can't remember when, 6th or 7th inning, comes in, first pitch he throws, boom, hurt his elbow. And you can just and he already has 2 Tommy John surgeries, and his career's only been like 3 years. Like he hasn't been in the league for longer than 3 or 4 years. You can just tell, like, it just hurts to see guys because, like, okay, and this is gonna sound don't take this out of context. But guys like Verlander and like the big guys that make a lot of money, that's great. You have 150, you have 100 million in the bank coming to you. But guys like TJ Antone that like rely on velocity, that they're trying to make it and keep their spot, and you see like how, from a like mentality standpoint, how devastating is that? You can just tell like he heard it and he called the trainers out and it was like, oh yeah, I'm done. He put his cap down, and I can just tell like the emotion that he was walking off the field. He didn't even talk to anybody in the dugout. They put the dugout cam, and the first thing he did is he just took him straight to the back. And it's just devastating. Like
even a more high profile name that I mentioned earlier, but Shane Bieber. I mean, he was in a contract year, looking to get paid. Got off to a really good start in his first 2 starts, and all of a sudden, he's probably going to get the Brandon Woodruff treatment. Who even 2-year deal with an opt out after the first.
Who even knows what the thing is? I mean, it's very dependent, and I mean, we're just gonna have to wait and see. And I just don't know, like, if we're gonna be throwing 100 miles an hour, like, and that's the thing. I'm not gonna read into MLB research. Like, this is the way we like fix this epidemic is by having one of these like big pitching academies, like Driveline. Do their own like fundamental research, not MLB, because you know MLB is going to put out what the fans want to hear, and like they're going to protect their brand.
Yeah, they're going to bring out the Warren Commission.
Yeah. They're going to protect the brand, exactly. What was the one that came out in 2007 or 8? The report.
Was it related to steroids?
Yeah, the steroid report. It was the Mitchell report.
The Mitchell report. That was because he was investigating, and there were some guys that got popped in that.
Yeah, but we're gonna get a whole nother.
I think Jason Giambi was one of the big guys that got popped in the Mitchell report.
But like we were expecting everything to come out, but no, there's that.
They didn't get anything on Bonds in that one.
Oh, but there's that 2003 article, that anonymous steroid test that MLB said anonymously, that everybody's like, why are you testing if it's anonymous? If you're testing for steroids, it's like, here's a perfect example. It's like, cop asks you if you're drinking and driving. And if you're drinking, why are you taking the sobriety test? Why would you incriminate yourself? You don't remember that? In 2003, that MLB in 2003 did an anonymous test for steroids, and they said that none of the results would get leaked. So I'm like, why even do it? And just like when you investigate the Mitchell report, when you investigate, and supposedly A-Rod was one of those guys, but when you do the Mitchell report and you want to literally clean the whole game up, and then in addition to that, you're not going to allow guys that are in the steroid era in the Hall of Fame, then you're really screwing the integrity of the game. Now, I'm telling you, it's going to take one of these driveline people from Seattle doing their whole, research and seeing how to fix it. But for now, it's going to be bullpen games, 6-man rotations. I don't know what to do.
We might just get to the point where we might just get to the point where the starting pitcher is entirely eliminated from the game, and it's more of just everyone masters 1 to 2 innings, and you're not a starter, you're a second and third inning guy, or you're a 6th and 7th inning guy, and then you have the closer that'll throw 1 inning, and everyone's even more specialized than they already are. That's the direction it feels like this is going.
The players, the Players Association would hate that, because could you imagine? I could totally see one of these dog water teams like Tampa, Miami, low budget, Dollar General team, just going out finding dudes that are masters at 2 or 3 pitches, or 2 pitches or 3 pitches max, and they just have them all ready to go. And if they're facing a lineup like the Yankees, fastball hitters that love to hit home runs, all right, let's get guys that induce ground balls on them and just throw them out for 3 innings and just rotate it. You decline the earning potential, which the players would never allow. And then, it could work. It would be the new Moneyball. But yes, I feel like the players would never allow it.
But it's just the general direction the game is moving. Pitchers, if you get 5 innings out of a starter, that's a great start now. If you get 6, that's an amazing. Pitchers don't throw 200 innings in a season anymore. It's just not a thing. It used to be super common.
And I was going to mention that, we're going to have to change in our league because we're not getting quality starts. A guy like Garrett Crochet pitched 5 innings and allowed 2 earned, and I'm not getting a quality start for that.
So, or they should just change the definition of a quality start, which is currently a starting pitcher records a quality start when he pitches at least 6 innings and allows 3 earned runs or fewer. It should be 5 now. It should be 5.
It's impossible. It's bro, the hitters are getting better. Freaking Anthony Volpe, we'll talk about later. That man's making you pitch 10 balls per 10 strikes, 10 balls an AB. Max Fried pitched 40 the other night in a 1 inning. It's impossible. And you only see him go 80 to 100. So it remains to be seen. I just think this week was just a sad week in baseball. And I know the Angels have I agree with their sentiment, but why do you have to rope in the Shohei Ohtani betting scandal? We don't even know if he show bets. And then, Nolan Schanuel. They're because the other big news was Nolan Schanuel's on base streak was there's a stat correction where they ruled a single an error, and they took it, and so his on base streak stopped at 30, and they were like, oh well, the NBA would never do that to LeBron. And I'm like, well, they've done it before. They took a rebound away, and they did not rule him for a rebound against the Knicks back in when he was in Cleveland. He had a triple-double, and he was 1 rebound away to get a triple-double, and they did not give him the rebound when he clearly caught it, and it was outrage. So
and also like Nolan Schanuel is hitting 77 right now, batting average wise. So there would be a dialogue about him had he not had that on base streak that I think Angels fans might not want to have, but there's concerns about him actually being able to hit the ball, I think.
I mean, but that's a great opener. You want to do stock up, stop down. So so we wrapped up the elbow injuries. I feel like the MLB has to do something. What do you think they need to do?
I think they should maybe allow pitchers some type of substance out there. Obviously, don't bring back spider tech. That's ridiculous. But, if sunscreen and rosin helps you get a little better grip on the ball and helps you avoid injury, I'm okay with that as long as it doesn't give a massive advantage. Now, you don't want to open up a Pandora's box of things that pitchers can get away with, but
it will.
It's gotten to the point like where we're losing so many star pitchers to this that just MLB as a whole is missing out on a lot of fun arms that aren't out there right now. And I think they need these guys on the field.
Dustin May, I just realized him.
Dustin May, I mean, Garrett freaking Cole, Sandy Alcantara.
Well, Dustin May on the field. Dustin May was one of the hardest guys to hit off of. People were like, oh, yeah. Like, I was watching somebody was like, oh, yeah, Dustin May. And I'm like, I feel we're going to go 6-man rotations. More often bullpen games. I mean, the freaking Dodgers already did a bullpen game last week, and they pushed the Yamamoto start to Saturday,
which was good for me. I was there. I got to see it in person.
Yeah. So I'm just saying we're going 6-man bullpen because it's going to be like running backs out here. Like we're going to be losing running backs, all like starting pitchers, and like we're going to see we're going to see starter money being like only 10 guys get 200 M's. And everybody else is kind of just like branched into like the 50 to 100 M's category.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. That's what's probably going to. And I just feel like we need to bring back the art of pitching. And that's gonna bring a rant of mine. And I know you didn't respond to me this weekend, much like all my life going on right now. Nobody responds. So
I did. I mean,
but to this point, it was a Friday night. So I feel like right now we're in an era where, for example, in pitching and hitting, that there's an obsession over athletes, and we're losing the art and skill of like pitching and hitting. Like, great, you're a freaking athlete and like 6'6" that can throw 100 miles an hour, but can you put 100 right there on the freaking block? Like, I have watched so much baseball this week, and I'm like, why are we missing locations so often and putting balls? Like, put the ball in the freaking strike zone on the black. Pitch it like MLB The Show. I know it's hard, but just do it. Like, you're getting paid. Like, for example, if you're getting paid 200 M's, I need to see that ball hitting the black or near it.
I think and you talked about this. I think it's even worse with the hitters, like these guys that clearly have so much talent in boatloads, but they can't do the simple things.
There's no tech.
Like put ball to bat. Like, there's no ball to bat skills anymore. It's just home run, strikeout, or walk. Like, look at Ellie De La Cruz. The dude has a 45% strikeout rate right now.
I love him, but it's getting hard to defend him. But there's just like no tech in the game. It's just like all sports. We're getting obsessed with putting out dudes that can run. Oh yeah, he could run a 4.2, but can he freaking catch the ball or make a play? And they can't. And I'm just getting sick and tired of seeing guys that are 6'6" that can, once they put bat to barrel, oh, it's 115 exit velo off the bat. Great. But how many times does that happen? It's like Giancarlo Stanton. Somebody on Twitter, I think it was a Yankee fan. It was I can't remember who. It was like, oh, we're going through the Giancarlo cycle. 27 ABs with a strikeout or a pop-up, and then boom, one home run, and then we start the cycle again. And
he hit an absolute nuke of a grand slam today. Giancarlo is either hitting a home run, popping up, or having the ugliest strikeout that you will see that day. It is the ugliest strikeout. It's always like a slider away. He has a short swing. He just looks so weird with it. It looks so weird with that really close stance. But when he connects with it, it's scary. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But that's the thing. We're getting obsessed with dudes that are just athletes. Why can't we get guys bat the ball skills? Like, let's develop some bat the balls.
Like, it's great if you're a 6'5" shortstop that can throw the ball 100 miles an hour across the diamond, if like you're Ellie De La Cruz. But can you go to your left or can you go to your right, make the backhanded play, plant and throw?
He's struggling making the simple plays. On Friday night, I was watching the game, and I was like, bro, get this man off my TV screen. He's not a shortstop. He's not a freaking shortstop. Put him at third. And I know because of injury, he's having to play short, but put him at freaking third. Like, I don't need to be seeing him, missing DPs, just simple DP plays and ball getting stuck or something like that. Like, yes, he has this amazing range that he can cover, but I need to see the plays happening. And
it's also just harder for a dude that's 6'5" to bend over and field ground balls repeatedly. And I will say, to the credit of very tall shortstops, Oneil Cruz, 6'7", has gotten off to a good start. He's hitting .342 average with a 139 OPS plus, 2 homers, and his strikeout rate is a little bit lower. It's at 35%, which still is not good, but it's better than the 45% Ellie's at. So
they're all going to end up.
I'm getting a little worried about. I'm getting a little worried about Ellie De La Cruz.
They're all going to end up as third baseman eventually. Manny Machado, Carlos Correa, Ellie De La Cruz are all going to end up. They're all going to do the A-Rod career arc where they start it short and then boom, later on in the career they move a third. It's just bound to happen. And that's what's kind of just like.
He moved to third though because Jeter was going to play shortstop and he was okay with that.
But do you think? But let's be honest. Do you think A-Rod can play short at an 05, 07 Yankees? No.
All right, now you want to get into stock up, stock down, our new segment.
Yeah, no, I just went on my little rant about P&P. It's like in soccer we call it P&P, pace and power merchants. I don't know. We got to come up with a line for baseball.
We'll think about it.
Velo and strikeouts.
Velo and strikeouts. Or it's exit velo and strikeouts. Yeah, like he hits at 116 miles an hour off the bat once every 100 at bats, and then strikes out the other. Yeah, it's
for pitchers, it's velo or walks.
Mm-hmm.
Velo or walks. For hitters, it's exit velo or strikeouts. I'm just so sick and tired of it. But stock up, stock down. What we're doing this week is we've been looking at baseball, analyzing who's been off to a good start, who we're looking at as a great starter, and then we're also looking at who has not been going off and who we're kind of struggling with right now.
It's something we'll do throughout the season. So to help you kind of get an idea of, obviously, you guys probably can't watch every game. We watch a lot more than the average fan, I would say, probably an unhealthy amount. So some guys that have been playing well the past week, their stock is obviously up. And then some guys that are not playing well, their stock is obviously down. We obviously talked about our defense league guys that we were buying stock in before the season. This is kind of a market update. I focused solely on pitchers this week because I thought there were some interesting outings, and you went with, it looks like, some hitters on your list. You want me to go first or you?
Yeah, I'm going to go first. Guys that I was like today at like 5 o'clock, the only game that was on was freaking Rays Rockies and Padres Giants and Red Sox Angels. I watched Red Sox Angels last night because I was waiting for F1 and I wanted to gouge my eyes last night.
I watched it. I was out at the bar in Wrigley after the game and they had it on.
You were out that late?
Yeah, we got back at like 12:30, 1. I know. First time going out like that in a while.
Because I was watching F1. I was waiting for the F1 race to start, and then F1 Japan was last night. And, of course, typical Max Verstappen looked like a mid-table, Bundesliga striker wins the freaking race again. That we're all just mad. Like,
what's new?
And, there's a wreck on the first at the start of the race. So there's like a 20-minute delay. So I started watching that game, and oh, my God. Obviously, I don't need a list, but Anthony Rendon had his first hit in 277 days.
He had a double today. I saw that as well.
The average pregnancy is 280 days. So you could have theoretically had a kid. You could have fertilized and had a kid. And the time that Anthony Rendon took the time to actually hit the ball. But, we're going to talk about dudes that we're concerned with. My basis, I'm gonna be honest, I can't watch all these dudes play. I watched a lot of them, and I'm gonna give some guys the benefit of the doubt, like Victor Scott. Rookies, I'm giving benefit of the doubt, but guys like Francisco Lindor, it's time to have that conversation.
Oh, we've had that conversation a
it's
lot.
It's time to hammer that conversation again and again and again. His OPS is .216, which is the fourth worst. The only three worst players in Major League Baseball are Andrew Benintendi, Anthony Rendon, and Johan Rojas. Johan Rojas is a utility player. Anthony Rendon, there's nothing that we talk about. Andrew Benintendi hasn't been the same since the hammy injury since he went to New York. But Francisco Lindor is making $300 freaking million to be hitting a .032 average in 38 plate appearances. And you're like, okay, well, he could just get unlucky. No, his batting average at ball in play is .038. On base percentage is .184. He is slugging .023. That is awful. A negative 14 WRC plus.
It's grim. Awful. It's grim. He did hit a home run today. Hit a home run today.
Yeah. Okay, cool. But this is a guy you're paying $300 million.
I will say though, just trying to defend him in some situation because it only is 8 games. If you're like looking for a reason to still be in on him, the strikeout rate is good, 15%. The whiff rate's good, only 19%, and the walk rate is okay at 10%. Could be a little bit higher, but it's not bad. So it's not like he's striking out 45% of the time like Elly De La Cruz. I think, and you mentioned it's not like he's getting super unlucky or anything with balls in play, but I still think like he can theoretically turn it around. He's hitting his average. I don't think Baseball Reference is updated. Savant has him at an 83 average, 209 OBP, and a 403 OPS, which is obviously horrible.
83 puts him he was the number one worst player in batting average this year. Now he's at 5. If he's at .83, if it updated, because I'm using Fangraphs updates.
I saw someone tweeted out like a screenshot of his stats and said, I've had a blood alcohol content level higher than that batting average.
Hey, we all know. So, hey, if you want to, no, we can't talk about that. That's maybe if you catch us one night out, if one of the listeners catch us out, you can be like, oh, what talk about that BAC. That thing we've ever been
has nothing to do with me. Has nothing to do with me or you. I will say.
Yeah, nothing to be arrested. No. But yeah,
nothing illegal. We're all good.
We're all good.
Nothing to do. Everyone has stories from college. Nothing to do with me or him though. Nothing.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's just awful, man. That's just abysmal. It's just so bad. Yeah. Like, there's my thing. The warning signs have been there. Yep. It's just like Mets. Why haven't they're kind of like, you know what the Mets are doing right now? I kind of feel like he's like not a token, but I kind of feel like he's the sign of the revolution, and they won't get rid of him because he was the first player as a part of the whole Mets rebuild era type, and I kind of feel like they won't get rid of him because he's he's like that guy. I'm like,
he's a pillar along with Pete, but I mean, you mentioned around last trade deadline heading into the offseason, maybe they should move him to Miami. It makes a lot of sense.
That doesn't make sense anymore. He plays elite defense. He's giving Anderson level defense with Anderson. He's playing like Anderson Simmons at this point.
Yeah.
But with 300 M's.
Yeah. Age 30 season, so it's not like he's old.
And look, if they need somebody to go field some grounders, I can go field some grounders for the Mets.
Okay. My first guy, stock is skyrocketing right now. Shota Imanaga, the Cubs pitcher, had a great start on Monday against Colorado in the home opener. 6 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 0 walks, 9 strikeouts. Had a perfect game or no-hitter through like 5 innings. Nasty weather. It was freezing, windy, and wind was blowing in that day. And it was the Rockies, but still a really good start. 92 pitches, 56 fastballs, 24 splits, 10 sweepers, 2 curves, and 20 whiffs, 20 swings and misses against the Rockies, which is great. He followed that up with another start today, Sunday against the Dodgers, 4 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts, only 43 pitches, start was cut short because of a rain delay. 34 fastballs, 7 splitters, 2 sweepers, and 8 whiffs. So it looks like he's going to be a fastball split guy with the occasional sweeper and curve. And, Statcast wise, he's got a 42% strikeout rate, which is top 3 percentile. He does have a high hard hit percentage, 66%, which is bottom 3 in the league. So people are making solid contact, and maybe when the wind isn't blowing in and the weather is nasty at Wrigley, the ball might fly out more on him. But I think this guy's going to be good, man. He is that pitcher that, especially with Justin Steele out for the rest of April, he's been stepping in and he's been really impressive for the Cubs. I think the Cubs might have found a good one, and maybe like we were talking about Imanaga as like going to be a project when he comes over. I mean, he is 30. So maybe he's more of a finished product than people realize. Struck out Ohtani today. He's looking good.
It makes it very interesting what the Cubs do moving forward, because if he's I don't think he's ace level, but I think he's a good number 2 or number 3 type guy.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like if you're in a contention race like the Cubs, aren't you going to go make a play for Jesus Luzardo at the deadline?
Another lefty? You got Steele, Imanaga, and Luzardo. That'd be maybe
they're rare. They're rare. You can't find lefties, good lefties. I mean, stock up on them.
Yeah, his stock is certainly up.
Yeah, certainly up. And Imanaga, I watched a little bit. I know I was studying this week. You got to see his whole start, and you enjoyed. He's not a velo guy, but he pitched really good from the highlights I saw. I'm gonna try to tune in to his next start. Today the weather was awful. I had people on the ground at the game telling me that the weather was awful. Everybody ended up at Sluggers, according to my sources.
Really?
Yeah. They ended up at Sluggers in Wrigley. But like I said,
his next start is next Saturday in Seattle.
And that'll be interesting. And I feel like that ballpark might actually suit him. I mean, Seattle had a very similar pitcher in the sense of Marco Gonzalez and Kikuchi, curveball driven guys, fastball curve guys, breaking ball type of guys. So I feel like that park will suit him, and I feel like a harder lineup than Colorado. And today's start, he pitched against LA, but the weather and everything, he didn't get the whole LA experience.
Yeah, he did not. I will say, interesting note on him: 0% ground ball rate, has not induced 1 ground ball. 66% fly ball rate and a 25% line drive rate. That's a little bit concerning. You look at his average exit velocity is 94 miles an hour. That's not good. Barrel percentage, 16%. Hard hit percentage, like I said, 66%. I'm gonna be interested to see how he can pitch when the wind is blowing out in Wrigley and it's not super cold and the ball dies right away. So next weekend in Seattle, probably going to be with the roof closed, controlled environment. It'll be a little bit easier or not easier, but it'll be a good test for him.
Better evaluation.
Yeah, better chance to evaluate him for sure.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be 30, 40 degrees and freezing every start.
So my next guy.
Your next guy.
I'm about to talk about your guy, Anthony Volpe. I've been very impressed. I want to give that man his flowers. That dude was an abomination at the plate last year.
Okay, not an abomination. He had a 2020 season as a rookie.
Yeah, but
there were stretches where it was rough, but he was not an abomination.
He was hitting 200, man. That's not good for the Yankees. I know everything went left, but this year he's getting on base. He ranks 14th right now in on base percentage at 455. He's hitting 379, which puts him right up there. Puts him at 12th.
He rose his average today actually to 424. He's hitting 424 with a 1.092 OPS.
He's hitting. He steals bases. He's running around the bases, and defensively, he's been playing well. So his slugging's in the top 30. His 0.586. Hell, he might be your starting shortstop in the AL this year.
Oh my god!
Also, at the pace we're going,
that's a hot take. I mean, yeah, the chase rates are great. The whiff percentage is only 12%. He's having great at bats. Guys dialed in. He's seeing a ton of pitches.
I think he should hit lead.
20%. He's hitting like 6th or 7th right now. I think he could move up in the lineup.
Because right now you got Gleyber 1.
And I just don't like what I've been seeing. I don't like what I've been seeing with Gleyber so far this season. He got screwed over by Angel Hernandez today, by the way.
Oh, God. Angel Hernandez needs to retire, man. But look, listen what I'm saying. We need to see Volpe hitting first. I mean, I think Gleyber's better suited for a more 5-4
4-5-6 role in the lineup, middle of the order type of bat. I feel like if you go with the lineup of Gleyber, I'm still not a fan at Soto at 2, but just how the Yankees are built, he has to hit 2.
And he's pushing. He really wants to hit second for whatever reason.
Maybe you squeeze in Gleyber, but I mean, what helps Soto a lot too is that you sandwich him with Judge.
Yeah,
so I kind of feel like that front three as a starting pitcher, Volpe, Soto, Judge. You're going to by the time you get to Judge, you might have already pitched 20 pitches or 25 pitches. Like you are cooked, and you might have one on bat, and then Volpe's going to put pressure on the base paths. Today, it was a 3-6 game versus Toronto, and he ended up stealing second and third in a game that didn't even the game was over. And I kind of feel like there was no need, obviously insurance is what to get, but there was no need pressure to go steal, but he sold too. And like I said, he might be your starting shortstop in the AL. I don't think there's another AL shortstop playing better than him right now.
Not right now.
The only guy you can put an argument is Bobby Witt Jr., but then I would take Volpe over Bobby Witt Jr.
And Volpe's going to get more of the fan vote than
exactly. That's why I'm saying Volpe would be your starter, because there's no all the shortstops are in the NL. If you really do think about it,
Corey Seager maybe, but he's not there yet this season.
He's not there yet. And then who else?
Seager's hitting. Well, I will say Seager's hitting 367. His numbers aren't as good as Volpe though. 957 OPS, 1 home run, no stolen bases. But Seager's a freak too. I gotta say.
Yeah, and then Bichette too, and he just came back from injury, Seager. But then Bichette's not playing great, and that's going to open a dialogue about a team that I have a stock down is Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah,
they got a clear issue there. So
they got no hit. They got no hit against the Astros. Ronel Blanco on Tuesday. The annual Astros no hitter. I swear they have a no hitter every season.
I think they're cooked. I really do think they're cooked, and they play who they play. I put their Monday through Wednesday series. It's like an eliminator series in my point.
Who do they play?
I put it in the document. They play somebody they play the Mariners. Who that series, the loser of that series is going to be in trouble.
Man, this early in the season.
I mean, you're already calling the Marlins out right now. You're already calling.
Oh yeah, they're 1-9. They're fine. They're 1-9.
Bro, bro, you understand how they're not cooked. You don't understand the amount of force it's taking you to defend the Marlins out here. I am telling people they are not cooked, and everybody's looking at me like a crazy. And I'm like, just wait. They're gonna get healthy, and they're gonna make some noise.
Okay. All right, my next.
Just look at that whole division. That's the last thing I'll say. Look at that whole division. Atlanta has issues, but Atlanta's giving everybody 5 spots as a lead. Atlanta just gives Atlanta gives 5. That's a funny thing I saw this week. Every Atlanta game this week I saw teams would they would be down 4 or 5 runs, and then they just casually would just put up 9. I was like, all right, we're cool. That's what I'm just saying. They're the best.
Nothing last night.
They're the best lineup in baseball. They're better than the Dodgers. Best lineup in baseball.
I will say Mookie, Ohtani, and Freeman in person is pretty fun. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, but it's not
my next guy.
But last thing I'll say, it's not Acuna, Albies, Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Marcell Ozuna, Michael Harris,
Olson, man.
Ozzy Albies, Jared Kelnick, and Chadwick Trump / Travis.
Acuna is off to a slow start, but yeah,
and they're still putting 9 runs up. Even Austin Riley hasn't come out the gate hitting.
Yeah, my next guy, I'm going, and this one is going to be quick because we do talk about him all the time, but Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I got to see him pitch yesterday against the Cubs, and it was kind of reminding me of Jameis Winston or Dak Prescott, where he's got to throw that pick or two to just get in the groove. Then he's going to throw you 3 touchdowns. Like that one season that Jameis had, 40 touchdowns, 40 picks, or something. 30. Yamamoto, bases loaded in the first and second inning, got out of both of them, and then settled in for the 3 innings after that. 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, 80 total pitches, 34 fastballs, 84 curves, 16 splits, and then 1 cutter, 1 slider, 13 whiffs on the day. And if you combine his last 2 starts, which was obviously yesterday against the Cubs, and then last Saturday against the Cardinals, that's 10 innings pitched, only 5 hits, no earned runs, only 2 walks, and 13 strikeouts. So we're going to talk about the Padres start a lot, and I think that start is going to inflate his ERA significantly over the rest of the season. But he's locking in, and I think rookie of the year is going to be pretty easy for him to get.
I'll hold my commentary about Yamamoto. This listeners, if you had Yamamoto on your Locked In Sports bingo card, you might as well make it a free spot weekly, because at this point we're talking about him every week.
I mean, he got $300 million. He's going to be talked about a lot on this podcast, especially because we disagree about him.
I'm just saying,
on him. He's on my team. I like him. You don't think he's all that. You're worried.
I'm just saying, the way he got out of those at bats yesterday, the bases loaded at bat with Morel, like look, I've never played baseball, but I watch a lot and I study it. That I'm like, he threw the same pitch twice and Morel went fishing twice. Bottom of the zone, breaking ball. Sometimes hitters just get themselves out. And I kind of feel like he was gifted 2 of them. And he had good calls. The ump was gifting calls wide at a strike zone. So I'll just be honest. You can't do that against the Braves. And the Braves are not paying me. Liberty Media is not paying me to hype up F1 and the Braves, because they're owned by the same owners. I'm not getting paid for this podcast by them. I'm just saying, you're not going to be able to put bases loaded and the Braves hitters don't get themselves out. I'll leave it at that.
It'd be interesting to see him get a start against the Braves. That's for sure. His next start is going to be, I can pull it up real quick just so we can.
And I think it's against the next one. I think they're back in. I think it's back in the East Coast too, because the Dodgers.
No, he's back in the West Coast. Sorry, he's next Friday against the Pods. Yeah,
at home. Yeah,
it's a decent matchup.
Next one I want to talk about, Spencer Steer. Dude's on a tear. Dude's number 2 right now. He's looking at .897. He's seeing dead red on the ball. He's not striking out. 14% strikeout rate, 8% walk rate, which we want to see up, but he is on a tear right now. He is hitting .448 as of this morning, .529, and slugging .897, all top 5 in the game. And
he has a 1.313 OPS, which is crazy. 3 home runs already.
He's been crazy. And the thing about it is, this is without Matt McClain, Ellie De La Cruz, and he's hitting 7th in the order. David Bell has some of the weirdest lineups in Major League Baseball. His best hitter, he puts him out and starts him out the year, hitting 7th in the order. But we can have Yaimer Candelario hit 3rd, who's been an abomination at the plate.
The Reds are playing decent ball, 5-4. Lost today against the Mets.
They lost the Mets series. They lost 2 at the Mets. They lost one. They lost 1 at the bank, and then they lost. They ended up losing 1 against the Nats. So there you go. There's your 4 losses right there, and they were all very super winnable games. The only one that they just decided not to have a chance with was the Bryce Harper 3-run home run game where he just went nuclear. But the Saturday game against the Nationals, Alexis Diaz was awful. He was rusty. He ended up blowing the save. Lost that game in extra innings. The Friday night game, they had the bases loaded at the end of the game, and they also had guys in scoring position in the later half of the games. They just couldn't execute and get those runners home. And then today's game, they had a bases loaded, and again, people getting themselves out, hitters getting themselves out, and they're not healthy. So we'll see. I mean, are they going to put up runs? 100% they're going to put up runs. It's just a matter of time. Is they're going to execute it and put up enough runs? But Spencer Steer is on a tear, and right now he's probably the only Red that makes the All-Star game. For a team that we're very high on, I'm very high on, he's probably the only guy that makes it off the team.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was an Oregon guy.
He was an Oregon guy. He was acquired from the Tyler Malley trade, which is looking like to be a steal because that Tyler Malley to Minnesota trade ended up becoming Spencer Steer, Christian Encarnacion Strand, who all the dude hits is nukes, and he went to Oklahoma State. And then they got Sean Hygely, who ended up getting he was a Michigan guy who ended up getting flipped for Will Benson to the Guardians. Excuse me, I was going to say the other team name. The Guardians for Will Benson, and then he was sent over. He got DFA'd, and he's now on the Cardinals in the 40-man. So they turned the Tyler Malley trade into Spencer Steer, Christian Encarnacion Strand, and Will Benson, who I'm a fan of. Will Benson. He's not.
I like Will Benson. I like him.
He's one of those guys. Like I said, he's not a pace and power merchant, as we would say. He's not a exit velo guy. So
yeah, I like him too. That's a good pick. Yeah, he's been having a good season so far. 58% hard hit rate, which is in the 93rd percentile. A lot of red on that Baseball Savant page right now. I got two more pitchers real quick. Ryan Feltner from Colorado. This takes a lot for me considering this guy is an Ohio State guy. Had a good start yesterday against Tampa Bay. 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts, 92 pitches, 42 sliders, 34 fastballs. So it is a slider fastball mix. 9 changeups, so it's not like a full Hunter Green, like only fastball slider mix. He does mix in the change 9 times, 6 sinkers as well, and 1 curveball, 18 whiffs, 18 swings and misses in only 92 pitches yesterday for Colorado. Good start for a Rocky. They've obviously really struggled. They won their home opener on Friday in really fun fashion. They were winning 6-3 going into the top of the 9th. The Rays come back and tie it, and then Ryan McMahon hits an absolute nuke walk-off home run to win it for them. And then staying out west, another guy, reliever this time, Mason Miller, was a rookie last year. Yep. And he had 2 games that he pitched this week, 4 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. Fastball slider guy, but he throws absolute gas. Hit 102 this week. Mixing in that slider, that's 85 to 90. Really, really good velocity separation there. And then he does sprinkle in the rare changeup. He's one to watch in Oakland. I know they're really bad, but they did win a series against Detroit this weekend. They look good doing it today. They killed them, scored a lot of runs. Geloff had a good game. Yeah. And he's one to watch in their pen. They could move him back to starter. He came up into the big leagues as a starter. But right now, I mean, he's thriving in that bullpen role, so he's fun. He's fun to watch.
Yeah, who knows? He can get demoted next week for wearing a wristband.
yeah, he might. Who knows?
I'll just go quick with the last 2. Some honorable mentions. Jarren Duran. He's had an absurd year. Boston's been a surprise, but I kind of feel like they're kind of the Rays of this year, where they've had scheduling wins, where they've gotten scheduled against dog water teams to start the year. But their pitching is doing really well. But he's on a tear. He's hitting 378 on base, stealing bases, doing pretty much everything. He's ranking high in the metrics. Keep an eye on him. And a guy I am not as so high on to wrap it up, because I can go on and on about guys like Yanir Diaz and a lot of guys who've been playing well, but a guy that has been absolutely dog water, we can go out and we can say that Bo Bichette has not been great. I alluded to him earlier. The whole Toronto offense is just awful right now. Vladdy, Springer, they're all ranking in the bottom half of average, and it's very concerning.
Yeah, Bo Bichette's hitting 194 right now with a 596 OPS, no home runs, no stolen bases. The walk rate's bad, 6.5%. No hard hits, really low, barrels low. A lot of blue on that Savant page. It's early, but
that's the type of blue you like to see. You like the type of blue to see on your Coors Light, but not on
not the start the Jays won, and they started with some controversy with Vladdy doing the shush thing when they were getting killed last night. Now apparently he does it every home run, and it's whatever. There's some stupid Twitter controversy about that. I'm going to stay in that organization, the Blue Jays, for my stock down, unless you have something else you want to say real quick.
No, I'm done. I can go on stock up, stock down, but we've been at it for an hour, and I'm not trying to bore the listeners out. I can just talk about my fantasy team, how it's been a stock up hitting wise, and my pitching has just been an abomination yet again.
Okay, my stock down is Kevin Gausman. Saturday against the Yankees.
Velo has been oof.
Velo's rough. He had a really bad start last night. I was watching on my phone. 1.1 innings pitched, 4 hits, 5 earned runs, 6 runs total, 2 homers, 2 walks, no strikeouts, 51 pitches, only 29 strikes, 29 fastballs, 21 splitters, 1 slider, only 2 whiffs. The fastball velocity averaged 91, which is down 3.3% from his 94.7 miles per hour average last season. Splitter was down 4% velo-wise, and the slider was down 5.7% velo-wise. That is concerning. Velo drops. He said he's not concerned about it. But I don't know. Is he going to be the next guy that has Tommy John? Like if he's going slow next week, or his next start, like I don't know, might be some injury.
Or is he purposely throwing slow?
Why would he be doing that? Oh, why?
So he doesn't get hurt.
So he doesn't get hurt. Yeah.
It's
Just an honorable mention. Tyler O'Neill for the Red Sox, 5 homers already. Is that trade going to work out for them? I mean, we were down on it, but dude's been absolutely smashing the ball. And then Ryan Pepiot had 11 strikeouts today against the Rockies after a tough first start against the Rangers. He looked good today.
Tag your bingo cards, William, talking about Ryan Pepiot on the podcast.
Hey, man, he had a good start. I got to give him credit.
We need 3 more. I feel like you can already call bingo. Talk about the Yankees. Talk about Ryan Pepiot, free space, and Yamamoto. There you go. I think you need 1 more. Oh, Reds chat. There, boom, 5, boom. Bingo card filled out.
And weather.
You didn't get the weather today, so
I know, but that is one that would be on the bingo card, though.
Yeah, I mean. So weekend review. I think we went over the main highlights. Ronel Blanco going to no. Marlins finally won today. I mean, Mother Nature delayed the win, but I feel like they're finally going to start getting some W's. I mean, they travel out to New York tonight, and they go play the Evil Empire out in the Bronx tomorrow.
Luzardo's on the mound tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, they're going to get swept.
Pirates took 2 of 3 this weekend against Baltimore. They also took 2 of 3 in the week series against the Nationals. They're 8-2, 2 walk-offs. They walked them off Saturday with an O'Neill Cruz single, and then today Gunnar Henderson threw the ball into the dugout or out of play, and they won as well. Pirates, baby, 8-2, and it doesn't feel like a fluke. Jared Jones throwing strikeouts, and O'Neill Cruz is that guy. So they'll probably fall off, but they're still fun right now.
Tigers, .TV Tigers, let's go.
.TV Tigers lost a series to the A's, and they can't hit. The Tigers cannot hit.
Hey, they lost today because of Jack Flaherty. He did. I was expecting a great start, but oh my God, I picked him up. It was like the A's. He should be able to get me 5 clean innings, 1 or 2 run ball. Nope, just 6. I was like, man. But they're still playing well. Good ball. They're 6-3. Bryce Harper 3-run game, and then the A's are moving to Sacramento. And we'd like to formally announce the podcast will be going this summer at some point. We are going to Oakland. It's happening. We don't know when, but we will be going out to Oco. I've already called up my Oakland contacts, my buddy from the Bay Area who lives out there. I told him we're going. He's like, oh, you guys are going? I was like, yes, we are going. Got to get those dinner reservations, get it out in San Francisco, Oakland. You're going to go watch the A's because they are hot garbage when you see a history closed down. My thing is, have you seen the dimensions of the Sacramento ballpark?
They are Little League-esque, but they might be able to adjust them before next season. Yeah,
but what are you going to be able to adjust? What are they saying? Because
move them back.
Left and right field are like 330, like it is small.
They're basically at the major league minimums.
Could you imagine? Like, if I'm Oakland, I'm just calling up Joey Gallo, giving him a 1-year, $10 million contract, and doing every home run we hit, we give out, free Chick-fil-A or something like that, or free McDonald's fries, because the amount of home runs he's gonna hit at Sutter Health Park. I'll give you the dimensions of Sutter Health Park. Left field is 330, right field is 325, and center's 403.
And their owner, John Fisher, just an embarrassing quote. I mean, it's pouring dirt on the pouring salt on the wounds for A's fans. I mean, he said, I can't wait to see all the great players in Major League Baseball hit home runs in the stadium like Aaron Judge. And it's like you couldn't name one A's player. Like you had to say the the opponents. You're excited to see Aaron Judge hit bombs on your team. Like, okay, they just get everything wrong, man. And it's interesting to note they're going to be moving to Sacramento for the 25 through 27 seasons with an option for the 28 season, which, they want to be in Vegas by then, but I don't know if that option's a little worrying. Maybe it's going to take them a little bit longer than they were anticipating.
Or maybe it becomes permanent. Because the A's,
can you imagine that would happen to the A's?
The A's would be that team. You know what the A's remind me of? There's a type of person that gets like, oh, we're gonna put it on layaway or put a loan, and then when it comes out to pay, it's time for you to pay the lump sum. Oh, we don't got the money. So it would be super A's like for it to get to 2027, 2028 and be like, oh yeah, we don't have enough money to finish paying off building a new stadium. Or the new stadium like construction's paused because of some XYZ. Like that would be super A's. That's
it would not surprise me in the slightest if somehow, some way the Las Vegas thing does not work out. Oakland doesn't want to take him back, and they're just kind of left stuck. I mean, they might just need to fold the franchise at that point.
Okay, so here's my question: what happens first? One of the boys gets married, or the A's move to Vegas?
I mean, 2028 is 3 years, 4 years from now. So I'd be 29. You'd be like 30. Armand would be 29. Probably the A's move still. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Or any of your
Sokolov. I mean, he might.
I'm just saying, there's people. I know people. I'm taking the other one. I'm just saying, I'll be pushing 31. Yeah. Shit.
I think one of our friends will get married before then. I think
one of our friends will get married before then. In 4 years, 100%.
Yeah.
So what else we got on the docket?
I think those were the main storylines this week.
Injuries.
Yeah, we can go through some injuries. IL watch.
Sonny Graves back on Tuesday.
He's good for the Cards.
Luis Robert, I think that was the funniest one this week. I was watching that game.
How was that funny?
Because did you see the whole Ozzie Guillen rant?
I didn't see it.
Okay, so pretty much he was running around. It was Thursday night. He was running around first base. He had a double, and then he pulled something in his hip flexor. Okay. And so then Ozzie Guillen went on NBC Sportsnet Chicago, which is the Chicago White Sox, provider. Yeah. And he was like, man, I've never seen a fat player pull a hamstring. He didn't say that, but he was just like, fat players don't pull like soft tissue because you can't pull fat. You can't break fat. And it was like, yeah, man, I had players drinking 5, 6, 7 Budweisers and 3 hamburgers, and they don't get hurt.
That's very on brand for him.
He said it on air. I died. I love Ozzie Guillen. We miss characters like him. Like early 2000s, Ozzie Guillen, Manny Ramirez, those type of guys were peak baseball.
Yeah, he was funny. I liked him.
What other injuries do you want to talk about? You want to talk about the Yankees IL report, which is incredible?
Yeah, Garrett Cole's playing catch this week, which is exciting. DJ took on-field BP on Friday, so he could be back with that foot injury. Loaiza, unfortunately, the setup man getting UCL surgery, which we talked about earlier. That's kind of the main updates. Yankee-wise,
I feel like that injury's a blessing in disguise, though.
For who? Which one?
The Yankees. I feel like the Yankees have enough IL depth in the bullpen where you can actually play like not Rocky, but Ron Marinaccio.
Yeah, he's been good, or he might get called up. Ian Hamilton, man, he's been a stud for the Yankees.
He just had that. He has closer stuff. The only thing is he had that one rough one last night, but
yeah.
But I mean, the Yankees will just probably spawn somebody as they do, and they'll end up in Milwaukee or Oakland. I was watching the Brewers game and I was like, wait, Jake Bauers wasn't that guy on the Yankees last year?
God, it was bad last year. Billy McKinney, Jake Bauers,
Willie Calhoun. They got Rougned Odor back on a minor league deal.
They did.
So, he'll make his back way up on the majors eventually.
Probably. D-backs, Geraldo Perdomo, torn meniscus, going to need surgery. That sucks. And then Alec Thomas, he's on the IL with a strained hamstring. Tough one out west. Trevor Story diving for a ball. Looks like he dislocated his shoulder. It looked really painful. Just sucks for a guy that's obviously battled injury a lot in his career. He said he hopes to play again this season, but also says there's a chance that he doesn't play again this season. So that just sucks for the Red Sox. They're off to a hot start. I believe they're 7-3, second place in the AL East right now. Vaughn Grisham could begin a minor league rehab assignment next week, which will be good for them to fill that spot. But do we see Marcelo Meyer? That might be Marcelo Meyer time in Boston. Might not be ready, but story after the season, they're going to need a guy to play short.
Justin Steele supposed to be back in there. Yuri's on Tommy John. That's pretty much it. There's nothing else. The Blue Jays pitching staff, they're saying Romano is going to be back soon. But, I mean, I think they're cooked.
Manoah got shelled in a single-A start today.
Bro, that's going to be investigated. Did he start out the year? Was he in the year where they stopped the sticky stuff?
His one good year was 2022, right?
Was that the sticky stuff year that they banned sticky stuff, or was that sticky stuff was still in play?
No, I think it was banned by then.
Bro,
I think it got banned like before COVID, or like after 2021.
It was after COVID. Definitely after COVID. Definitely in the podcast era.
I mean, he's a 3. He finished 3rd in Cy Young voting that year.
That's crazy. His fall off. I mean, man, I don't know if you're watching single A, double A games, but man, that fall off is berserk.
I can tell you, I was not locked into his single A start, but it looked rough.
All right, you got a bet of the week this week. What's your battle?
Yeah, this is our new segment. New betting segment. We're going to do this every week throughout the entire year. We're going to track them. So basically, we both drop one pick we like for either the following week, like this coming week's games, or it can be a future bet. It can be, like an award bet, a team future bet, whatever. It can be any bet baseball related, but we're going to drop them every single week. We're going to track them, and we're going to see who comes out on top, who makes the most units at the end of the season. I made an Excel document that we're going to track it all. And yeah, it's pretty simple. We can risk up to, there's no limit on how many units you can risk. We'll think about that. Maybe there should be a limit on how many units we can risk. I'm doing a 1 unit bet this week, which means, your standard wager amount. And my pick is the Padres to win the series against the Cubs. They play Monday through Wednesday. The odds are not up on this yet, but the Padres have their top 3 going: Darvish, Musgrove, and Cease. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The Cubs have Javier Assad on Monday, a TBD, and then Kyle Hendricks going in the closing game on Wednesday. The Cubs are going to be getting into San Diego very late tonight after they played the Dodgers in Chicago today. And there's a long rain delay, and they didn't finish the game until like right now, 7 p.m. Central on Sunday night. So the travel and San Diego's coming over from San Francisco, so a much shorter trip. Travel advantage is in the Pod's favor, and also the pitching is in the Cubs' favor. So I like the Cubs to win that series, I like the Padres to win that series. And it's a 3-game set. I think they win at least 2 of them, obviously. So that's my pick for this week and our first of this segment for the season. And you have anything? Or
I'm debating. It's hard. There's a lot of good baseball, but I think I'm going to take. Man, it's going to hurt because I've been high on this team. Give me a Pittsburgh sweep this week.
Pittsburgh what?
Pittsburgh sweep. They play Detroit. They got Mitch Keller and Martin Perez going up Monday and Tuesday. They got their top guys going against the Tigers. Tigers got Reese Olson and Casey Mize. I like my odds. Pirates are playing up. They're hot. They're hitting the ball well. I expect them to be able to hit more runs, and their pitching is not that great. So give me the Pirates
in a series victory or a
series victory. And I can see the Yankees losing tomorrow. That's kind of like my hot take.
Yeah, I mean, it's Luzardo versus Cortez, and Cortez has been the one Yankee pitcher that I have not been impressed with so far this season.
I haven't been impressed with Rodon either. And
Rodon's been okay. He's left the Yankees in situations to win the game. So has Cortez, but Cortez,
Cortez he just needs to get out of the first inning.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the Yankees pen, they had to use a lot of the pen last night.
Yeah, we did.
And then Friday, Stroman had a really nice start. Pen didn't go that much, but I know today, Michael Kay made a point that the Yankees don't like using Clay Holmes in three times in 4 days. and they've already used him quite a bit. And he didn't pitch today, but he started to warm up. And then Dennis Santana ended up finishing the game. But I feel like they're probably not. He's probably not available tomorrow night.
No, probably not. All right.
So, yeah. What else we got? I mean, is that it? Oh, week ahead, we got some series this week. I'll run through these quickly. I'm just highlighting some of the big series. Phillies Cardinals starting on Monday. Cubs Padres, William already talked about them. Brewers Reds should be fun. Brewers have been a very bright surprise. They put up 12 runs today.
They look good. They're actually fun to watch.
Yeah. Tigers and Pirates. I mean, that's kind of a .TV series, and then Mariners and Jays. Mariners and Jays is probably it's gonna be the one that we're losers in a bad spot of that series. I've not been impressed with the Mariners at all this year, and it's sad. And then at the end of the week, we got the Battle of Pennsylvania with the Pirates and Phillies, Rangers Astros for the second time in 3 weeks of the Major League season, 2.5 weeks. Cardinals Diamondbacks should be a fun one. Padres Dodgers, and then Cubs Mariners. So Cubs are going out west this weekend.
Yes.
We will be learning a lot about Chicago, the Cubs.
West Coast swing for them.
Yeah. Do they go out anywhere to San Francisco after that, or they just go out for the week? Let me check. So they go out to Arizona right after, and then they come back to play Miami.
Yeah, they're gone. They're not back home until 18th. They're gone for a while.
They're gone for a week and a half.
Enjoy that West Coast weather. Get the hell out of Chicago in this weather. I'm sure they're going to enjoy it. Honestly,
I bet you the Marlins are super mad that they have to go to New York, Seattle, no, New York, St. Louis, and I think they go somewhere else real soon. Like they're doing like a little trip.
Who?
Right. The Marlins, the Miami Marlins. They were in St. Louis.
Their schedule is brutal. I mean, they were in St. Louis this weekend, then they're going to the Yankees, then they go to back home for the Braves. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, but I would not envy. I mean, those up north teams are getting hit right now. So that's it for us this week. You got anything else? I'm about to go watch WrestleMania. I watched it last night. The Rock.
Fun week. Yeah. Fun week. I'm sorry this podcast started out on a somber note. I'm gonna blame Luis for that. I'm sorry, but I had fun watching baseball this week. The Yankees are 8-2, and the Pirates are also 8. The Pirates are 8-2 too. They're my MLB TV team this year. So it's been a good year so far. And Ronel Blanco is dealing again right now against Texas. So
is he really?
Yeah, he is.
Really? What's the game right now? I'm watching WrestleMania in the background, so I don't. Oh, it's 3-0 right now. Yeah, he's doing well.
So. All right.
We're good.
All right. Been a lot of fun. And we'll be back next week.
Cheers.
More baseball. Thanks for listening and peace out.